So welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today to speak about your experience with Options for Success. I'm really glad to have you here today. And just to get started, maybe we'll start with Erin. If you could introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Erin Brown, and I work at a university, Virginia Commonwealth University, as an administrator, and I run a student civic engagement program there. I've been at the institution for 12 years, and I've been in my current role, which has some leadership. I supervise some folks. I've been in that role for 5 years.
Awesome. And Cynthia?
Cynthia Hawkins. I'm the gallery director and curator at SUNY Geneseo in Western New York. And I've been there for going on 13 years.
Wow, awesome. So, you know what's so unique here is that both of you, when you joined, really were already in full-time leadership positions. So, Erin, could you maybe say some about where you felt stuck prior to joining Options for Success and what you hope to get out of the program?
Sure. So as I said before, I've been in the role that I'm in now as a director for 5 years. And, academia has a routine to it. And so after you've done something 5 times, it can get a little old. And so I was looking for an opportunity to do something different and new, and also experience some new challenges. I'm in a leadership role, but I was interested in seeing how I could go further into leadership. And what was really pushing me forward was the fact that my university is doing some restructuring. And so the program that I'm a part of now was going to naturally come to an end. And that kind of lit a fire under me to think about, okay, well, what do I want to do? Do I actually want to stay in higher education? I've been here a long time, but maybe there are other things that I could do. Having worked in higher ed and having a PhD. And so when I saw even the name of your overarching program, beyond the tenure track, I was like, okay, I need to think about this with other people and figure out, what direction could I take. So that was really what inspired me to get into the program and think about what career opportunities were for me.
That's awesome. I love the fact that options stood out to you and going beyond the things that you've typically thought about. And so, Cynthia, for you, where were you in your career when you joined Options for Success? And what were some of the frustrations or questions that you were facing that prompted you to join?
Well, like I said, I've been at SUNY Geneseo for 13 years, and I just received my PhD last September, and I always thought that it was going to be this a way for me to transition to something else, away from the gallery museum work. And I kept thinking about what I would do next, how I would do it, where do I want to go, and in order not to get really, freaked out about it, I would just let it rest, like something will reveal itself. But, we know things don't actually always happen that way, but fine, I saw your ads a couple of times and got some emails from you a few times. So I decided I would try it. And I have to say, one of the early best things was having other people to talk to, about this, same thing.
And you two, I think, were really unique as well, because there was an opportunity that popped up for Erin, and I was so impressed with the group, like how the group jumped in and was like, yes, we are here to help. We're going to drill and interview with you on a weekend outside of the hours that Fatima already has us working together and doing things together. And I have to say, like, putting the program together, especially for the cohort that you two were in, as the person creating the program, I probably cried that night. I probably cried because I was like, yes, this is what I want. I want people to feel like they're in community, and not just feel it, but for real be it, right? Because we're in an era like where social media, you can see all the comments and the likes and oh yeah, we're in this group together. But for you all to actually step out of like the spaces that I organized and to help each other, that for me was that was amazing. That was amazing for me. But not about me. Erin, what was your favorite feature of the program and why?
Yeah, I think Cynthia touched on it. I mean, for me, it was kind of the camaraderie, I think, that was established, being a part of a group of people with, somewhat similar backgrounds who were considering the same thing, and also the accountability piece. So it was important for me to have assignments, like, the fact that we had worksheets and books, and doesn't sound exciting, but like knowing that I needed to turn something in because my group was depending on me to have something to say. And so it was kind of pushing me. So I really liked having these opportunities to check in with each other and give each other that real-time feedback that was very specific and personal. And I think, you mentioned it before, like Cynthia, we did a mock interview together, and it helped prepare me for an interview that I was really nervous about because it was not in higher ed. So I was kind of taking a leap. And I remember, I was actually at my son's swim meet, and, in the Slack group, we'll send your stuff. And so I'm like taking pictures of my CV and trying to send it to him. And, but it's to have someone who is like, I want to look at this because I want to help you. And in turn, you're probably going to help me with something else, I think was really nice, because oftentimes, you don't want to burden somebody. Oh, this is my job search, or this is my career path. And it was really a shared sense of, we're all on a similar journey, and we're going to try to help each other get there. So that's really what I liked.
Thank you. And Cynthia, can you give an example of how Options for Success really challenged you outside of your comfort zone? And what was maybe a result of taking action outside of your comfort zone?
Well, outside of my comfort zone was actually completing the worksheets. Always took me quite a bit of time, and I was very resistant. And I have to say the last two were the hardest. I mean, frankly, I thought, like, I don't have a network. I've only been working for God knows how many years, right? But I felt like I don't know anybody. And then I, started to fill out this list of people that I actually really know. And I was like, oh my God, I do know people. And you sort of like take yourself for granted, you forget all the people you've impacted, the people that you've helped that have helped you. It's just sort of becomes part of the rush of just being, working and being. But it was really, it was helpful. It was a challenge for me, for sure, trying to pigeonhole myself, because I don't feel like I'm easily, you know, I don't fit the boxes very well, because I'm a little bit all over the place.
But I think with your diverse, the network that you were able to tap into, just even by listing it. So even before you did anything with it, by listing it, it seemed like it helped to generate some ideas for you about options that you might have of what to do next, or even who to reach out to. So did you end up making any contacts with anyone or taking any kind of action once you did that network kind of inventory?
Well, part of that was also realizing that, my current job is can be used as a platform for other things. And I certainly don't think of it that way. But that was like a revelation. And so because of that, and also the way you start to use language and write when you do a PhD, I would in the past be very curt, short sentences, but you're always telling a story. So I just went ahead and emailed the librarian in charge of programming here, and immediately she was very interested, which was shocking to me. But and we are gonna do some projects next, in the fall, like series of lectures, and and they're all based on my, dissertation and continuing research. But I'm really looking forward to it because part of what I do really like is sharing information, telling people things they don't know, telling them about things that I've found out. And I'm always excited to share all that kind of information.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see also when you have your own exhibitions open up again. That's going to be exciting to me as well, to bring out those other pieces of your creative work and everything. So that's awesome.
Recently, I found out that I'm going to be in a show in New York City in November.
Oh my gosh.
This gallery that was started in the 60s by three really well-known African-American artists, and I exhibited there way back when. So it's sort of like a historical show, but which it could be a real door opener as well.
Absolutely. And I didn't know that because that's happened since we were in the
Right.
program together. So I definitely look forward to an invitation. If it's open, I want to go. I want to be there to support since I am in the New York City area. So what about you, Erin? What would you say is one or two of your biggest achievements as a result of being in the program?
Yeah, I think the biggest achievement was I actually like took the plunge and I applied for positions that I think previously I would have felt were maybe out of my reach. So one position was not in higher ed, and so I'd been kind of nervous to think outside what I could do, and so applying for something that was in a different sector and preparing for that and having to really think about how the skills that I use working primarily with students and at a university can change to, instead of students, I can talk about clients. And, I teach, but, that's very similar to professional development and mentoring and other sectors. And so that was really good for me. And also, as I thought about what I could do differently in higher ed and thinking about, expanding on my leadership, I applied for an associate dean role. And that was a real reach for me because I felt like, well, I'll just apply, I'm sure they won't, I won't get an interview or anything. And I couldn't believe that I got an interview. And unfortunately, that search was canceled. But I think in both of those instances, it was kind of like, oh my goodness, like I'm a candidate for things that I didn't think I was a candidate for. So big confidence boosters with those two positions.
That's so exciting too. And I think the energy of it was exciting for those in the group. It
Yeah.
was exciting for me as the instructor to just like see you put it out there. And then, we never know what's going to come back, right? But you did it anyway. So I'm super excited. It was a great moment for all of us and definitely got us rallying around you. So then, Cynthia, we've already closed out the program. You all are kind of moving on with action steps and just other things in your work lives. What do you feel ready to do now that you've completed Options for Success?
I think that I feel ready to sort of figure out how to monetize my dissertation. I'm even, it's ridiculous to me that it took me so long to like recognize this, that I thought, oh my gosh, I should send my copy of my dissertation to these, historical societies I used for research, for my different chapters. And I was like, which is like a major networking like thing to do, which didn't even occur to me, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, maybe I should do that. And then I offered to come and give a talk. When I sent this email, I would like to know if you would like a copy of this. And I am also available to give talks about, the chapter that covers this person, blah, blah, blah. And they were all receptive. So, it's really amazing that it's the way you think about your work, and how you can project it out into the world, really. It's instead of just holding it close,
Mm. That's a whole word for all of us. So, Erin, what is one top takeaway from the program that you'll use moving forward in your job search and just professionally?
Yeah. I think a big takeaway for me was not to let, having a PhD and working in higher ed pigeonhole me. And, I had seen my career from such a one-sided view. And it was so many other things I just wasn't even exploring. And so, now when I'm thinking about my network and when I'm searching and looking at positions, I'm not only looking in like the Chronicle, I'm looking to see like what is there out there, because there's so much, I think, to Cynthia's point, that is transferable. Like, I feel like if you can write a dissertation, you can do a whole lot. Like, that is such a big undertaking that, the skills alone in that can be applied to so many arenas. And so I think for me, just allowing myself to learn new languages, new ways of expressing what I do, because people do what I do in other areas, but they don't do it with students, or, they don't do it through teaching an actual course, but, they're managing groups on teams and talking about products. And, so that thinking has really helped me become much more open-minded about what I can do with my career. So I appreciate that.
That's awesome. I just want to say thank you to both of you, one for joining me today, but also just being candid about your experience and sharing some of the highlights of, what you took away and also what you brought to Options for Success. It was just really a gift to have both of you in the program. And I'm just excited to see like where your journeys take you and what comes next for you. So thank you both so much.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm glad to be here. Yes. Thank you for your help. Please. It was really, it seems like they're simple steps, but they are really huge in changing the way you think about yourself and what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.